A virtual private network provides an authenticated and confidential channel of communication, and it also provides a limited form of anonymity, as we saw in the case of circumventing censorship. In that case, a packet that is sent to the VPN server here is bounced back out into the network, and everyone can see the content of that communication, but the actual originating source is hidden. It's hidden from the rest of the world, but it's clearly known to the private network and the VPN server here that was responsible for managing the connection to the client. In some cases, even more anonymity is needed. For most of us, anonymity is less of a concern than authenticated and confidential communication, but sometimes it is useful for identity protection. Journalists and other citizens may need anonymity to circumvent censorship, and activists and whistleblowers not only need to circumvent censorship sometime, but also avoid retaliation. And yes, it's also needed by unscrupulous people who want to avoid getting caught. We would prefer not to accommodate this need of anonymity, but it's a trade we may make in order to get anonymity for these other cases that we may desire. If you're interested in a further discussion of this point, you can see the Tor project's information at this URL. If that's what we're trying to get, how can we do it? The limited form of anonymity we get from VPN is limited both because the private network knows about the connecting client, and also because it's not a too difficult traffic problem to notice that some IPsec packets came from this laptop, and then soon after, some packets came from the VPN server to some other site there. But what if instead of this simple arrangement, there were multiple entry and exit points? So multiple ways to get into this network and multiple ways to get out. That would make it harder to correlate packets that go in to packets that go out. And what if instead of just one private network manager here, the inside of this private network-like box was actually run by many different people with different governing structures and different motivations, but a shared interest in making some communication anonymous? And what if even inside this network, messages bounced around for a while in a way that is complicated and with mechanisms to prevent participants inside the network from tracking those bouncing around messages? And maybe part of that is because inside the network, each communicating piece inside the bouncing around private network only knew about the next step and didn't see the communication as a whole. If you did all that, you could get much more anonymity.